Alain Delon, the iconic French actor once hailed as the most beautiful man in the world, had a love life that was as dramatic as his screen roles. Despite his fame and charm, his past, marked by a tough childhood in foster care, left him leading a reclusive life later on.
Very quickly and very early on, I was alone fighting against the elements, against life, against people, against the difficulties of life.
Probably the greatest love of Alain's life was Romy Schneider.
Et pour représenter l'amour, j'ai humblement choisi Romy Schneider.
Despite the undeniable chemistry, it wasn't exactly love at first sight for Romy. The German actress initially found Delon a bit arrogant when they met at Orly Airport in 1958, even though she was the bigger star at the time, thanks to her role in the hugely successful Sissy trilogy. But that initial impression didn't last long.
I know that I can seduce, that I can charm. I'm aware of it, but I don't use it. I'm not a flirt. I'm not a charmer. I've never known how to approach a woman on the street that I like.
On the set of their first movie together, Christine, sparks flew, and the actors fell deeply in love. Romy even left West Germany to be with Delon in Paris, and by 1959, they were engaged. For the next 5 years, they were the golden couple of French cinema.
C'est dommage.
Quoi?
Qu'on ait commencé la journée en se racontant des blagues. Parce que maintenant, même si on se plaisait vraiment, on n'oserait plus se l'avouer.
During their romance, Romy's career thrived. She worked with the legendary Orson Welles on The Trial in 1962, and with John Ford on the stage play 'Tis Pity She's a Whore in 1961. But in 1963, everything changed with a single letter. Delon ended their relationship, and just like that, the fairy tale was over. In a surprising twist, he quickly moved on, becoming engaged to French model Nathalie Delon, who was already expecting their child. They married, had a son, and in another turn of events, divorced a few years later. But we'll talk about their relationship in a bit. After her split with Delon, Romy briefly ventured into Hollywood, starring alongside big names like Jack Lemmon in Good Neighbor Sam and Peter O'Toole, Peter Sellers and Woody Allen in What's New Pussycat.
Listen, my parents are coming to visit next week. They want to know when we're getting married. My mother writes me every week and asks the same question.
Despite the breakup, Romy and Delon remained close friends and even worked together on films like La Piscine in 1968 and The Assassination of Trotsky in 1972. It's touching to see how they managed to maintain a bond despite their personal separation.
Why do you get like this? Is it the altitude? Or is it something you've eaten?
Romy married German director Harry Mayen in 1966, but they divorced in 1975. She continued to make waves in French cinema throughout the 70s. Tragically, Romy's life took a darker turn. Her son, whom she had with Mayenne, died in 1981 at the age of 14 after a tragic accident. Just a year later, Romy was found dead at 43 in her Paris apartment. Her life ended too soon by cardiac arrest after a recent kidney operation. It's so heartbreaking to think of how much she endured in her short life. Delon, devastated by her death, arranged for Romy's son to be buried in the same grave. He famously called Romy the love of my life after she passed away, sealing their love story as one of the most tragic and unforgettable in cinematic history.
Parce que cette année, tu aurais 70 ans et que tu me manques terriblement.
After Romy Schneider, who left an indelible mark on his heart, his romantic entanglements grew more complicated and controversial. It's as if her shadow loomed over all his future relationships. Let's explore one of the more turbulent chapters of Alain Delon's love life, beginning with Nico, the German-born singer and actress from the Velvet Underground. Nico claimed that Delon was the father of her son, Christian Aaron Boulogne, born in 1962. However, this is where things get messy. Delon always denied paternity. But let's be honest, if you look at their pictures side by side, the resemblance is pretty striking. Christian was initially raised by his mother. However, as Nico struggled with drug addiction, Delon's mother, Edith, and her second husband, Paul Boulogne, eventually adopted Christian, and he took their surname. Despite multiple attempts by Christian to gain legal recognition from Delon, including lawsuits in 2001 and 2019, he was unsuccessful. Christian, who later reunited with Nico as a teenager, pursued a career as an actor, appearing in several films, including The Inner Scar with Nico herself. Sadly, he struggled with drug addiction and passed away in 2023, aged 60. Here's how it all unfolded. In 1963, Delon met Francine Canovas, a young divorcee and model who went by Nathalie Barthélémy. But Delon didn't make it simple. He was also involved with actress Marisa Mell, both before and after announcing his engagement to Nathalie. On August 13, 1964, Delon and Nathalie Barthélémy got married, mostly because Nathalie was expecting their child. After the wedding, Nathalie took Delon's last name and became Nathalie Delon. Their son, Anthony Delon, was born just a month later on September 30, 1964. But even this didn't put an end to Alain's affair with Marisa Mell, which continued up until 1965. And let's not forget the pop diva Dalida, an international sensation in the 60s and 70s. Rumor has it that Dalida and Delon had a brief fling when she first arrived in Paris in 1956, and they secretly rekindled their passion a decade later in Rome, despite Delon being married at the time. They even recorded a single together, Paroles, in 1972, where Delon plays the role of a charming wooer. Delon later expressed deep regret when Dalida tragically took her own life in 1987. And if that wasn't complicated enough, Nathalie later admitted that Delon's love for Romy Schneider was a constant shadow over their relationship, despite their marriage. Delon's deep sadness over Romy's absence was apparent, and it seemed his heart never fully left her. Nathalie and Alain's marriage was tumultuous from the start, and in 1969, after Delon had an affair with one of his co-stars, Mireille Darc, the couple divorced. Speaking of Mireille Darc, Delon's relationship with her was his longest by far, lasting an astonishing 15 years. It's hard to believe they were together for that long. Even after their romantic relationship ended, they stayed close friends right up until Mireille's passing in 2017. Now, if you thought Delon would slow down after his divorce from Nathalie, think again.
You may be surprised.
He dove straight into brief but intense relationships with actresses like Anne Parriot, Lana Wood, and Catherine Blaney. Finally, there was Rosalie van Breemen, a Dutch model Delon met in 1987 on the set of a music video for his song Como Cinema. Despite their 31-year age difference, love blossomed between the two, and they had 2 children together, Anouchka Delon in 1990 and Alain Fabien Delon in 1994. But like many of Delon's relationships, this one didn't last, and they parted ways in 2001. Despite the many women in Alain Delon's life, he never seemed to find his one and only, or did he lose her along the way? Who do you think was his true love? And what do you think prevented him from committing to just one woman? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's discuss.